Hello friends, it's Sheree from Turquoise Dreaming. How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. I'm coming by today with just an update on where I'm at with working on this A Day at the Beach journal. I wanted to thank everyone for all your kind comments and interest in this process. So this will probably be, this is the second video, and the next one will probably be the final flip through. So where I'm at is I've been trying to get all the sewing done. I've pretty much sewn on every piece of ephemera that I showed you in the video 1, and I've done a lot of sewing on the pages. So the cover was pretty much done when in my last video, or the first video in this on this process on this journal. I did add a blue button right here. I just felt like it belonged there. And then, so that was all I did to the cover. And then on the inside here, I did something really interesting. I added this pocket right here. And I'll tell you why in the third video, not this one. This is the second. But I did do it, and it's the first time I've done it, and I've been wanting to do this. So I finally did it this time. I had some motivation, and I'll tell you about that motivation in the third video. But what I did was, I have these zipper pouches in my shop. There's these, this is a small size, and then I have a bigger, like 4x7 size. This is like, I don't know, 3x4, something like that. And so what I did was I took this page, this is the first page, and I was trying to decide where I wanted it, and I just decided I put it in the back. So like this is the first page and this is the last page in the journal. And what I did was these little zipper pouches have a strip that's meant, you can't see it under there, but I sewed it down right there first before I put this trim on here, and it looked fine. I did zigzag stitching so I could make sure it had plenty of stitching to hold it onto the page. But it has a little strip here that you know, with holes in it that you're supposed to put inside a planner. These are pretty much for planners, made for planners, but of course you can do other things with them, and this is what I did with this one. So it's a zipper pouch. I thought it would be cool to have one in here, and it's totally plastic inside and out, so it's waterproof. Not the rest of the journal isn't waterproof, but this is, in case someone were walking around at the beach with this journal and they had a couple of shells they wanted to tuck in here, or just something from the beach that you wanted to tuck in here and keep in this journal. So like my son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, they always collect shark teeth, and if you ever tried to find shark teeth at the beach, I don't think it's easy. I mean, since he's done it, my husband and I have looked for shark teeth, and I think we found one, maybe two, in like 3 or 4 trips to the beach. But somehow they have eagle eyes or something, and they just know what to look for. I mean, we know what to look for, but sometimes they're so tiny. So anyway, they have probably 100 shark teeth. So anyway, something like that, something little. I'm just giving you that example because it's small. So some small little things that the little teeny tiny shells or shark teeth or something like that could be stored in this pouch, or of course your ephemera, or whatever else, paper clips, little extra pieces of ephemera as far as if they're small. So anyway, that's that new little addition. And then I decided to put some trim on top of this, and this trim I'm using in here just reminds me of, it's a really pretty trim that I've had in my stash for a little while, but I haven't used it yet. So I decided I would use it in this journal because it just reminds me of a net, a fisherman's net. And now I know it's different, but just the wide holes in here kind of just reminded me of that, gave me that feel. So that's that trim there, and so that's going to look like, it's going to look like this when it's together. You'll open up the front cover and you will see this pretty trim right here, because these pages will be sewn in, and in the back will look like this. and you'll have your little pouch here. So I thought that was really a cool addition. And then the other additions to the pages so far are, let's see, I've sewn in some, when I'm trying to get all my sewing done, I think I may just about have it done, maybe a few more trims here and there. But this is a tuck spot. I've sewn on one of the pieces of ephemera right there on that page. And that's the page with shells on it. So I thought that really just was perfect on that page. And then let me see, what else have I sewn in? This seahorse trim I put right here on this page from the diary that I showed you. Let's see what else. Here's a tuck spot here with some of that trim. So it's on a page from the diary also. And then this is a page from the diary that I showed you that was, it was like this. And I decided to fold it like this instead. So it'll be like this in the journal, and then it'll fold out like that. And it's also, let me just get something here, small. So this is going to be a tag. But anyway, this could be a tuck spot also, right there. And it's the shells. It's a little strip of shells, like shells that have the children in there. So that is sewn on there. And then let's see, what else have I done? I have sewn on right here. This is a pocket. And what I ended up doing was, this is just an option if you're working with a kit like this. This was, I think it cut the flaps off of both of these pockets. There were 4 pockets, and I cut the flaps off. It just felt like it was too much bulk on this piece of paper that I'm using for this page. So I cut the flaps off and just sewed it on. So it could, when you cut the flaps off, I noticed, you know, of course you have less bulk here for the pocket, but it also could just be at that point a journaling card if you didn't want to make it into a pocket when you cut those flaps off. So, but I thought that this one looked really pretty here with this. This is the pink food coloring dyed page, and these fans have some pink in them, so I thought that was really pretty on that page. And I've used blue and white thread in here depending on what I was sewing on. So at first I was using white, and now I'm sewing on things that the second stage was like sewing on things that I wanted to use blue ink with. So this is another fold out here, and I put it in one of the corner pockets here, and again I cut off the flaps because I felt like it was just, you know, I have used the flaps before, but I just, you know, maybe if I hadn't put them on manila folder, that maybe that would have been less bulk, but with the manila folder on here, it was just too much bulk, so for me anyway. So that's that pretty shell page, and so we've got a corner pocket right there. And then as we go through, here's the other side of that one, this page that I showed you with the fold out. So this page also folds out like that, and I sewed one of the shells on here as like a tab, and it can also be a tuck spot the way I sewed it in. Sewed it in over on the edge over here so that you'd have room to tuck something in there. And then here's another, this can be a tuck spot here, and I did put some of that trim over on this as a little bit of layering on that one. And here's a strip of shells, and this could be like a mini tuck spot here. I did sew it right on the edge, so if somebody really wanted to, it would be. It does hold something in there, so another tuck spot. And then here's a shell up here, and this one I did like a double shell kind of thing on this page. I have one here, so this is a tuck spot up there. And then if you turn the page, right on the opposite side, I have trim and a tuck spot right there with another shell. And then some of that trim that I thought looked like fisherman's net. So I think everything else you've seen on the pages. So that's the pages. And then so here's where I'm at with the ephemera. I've sewed around all of the ephemera, every piece I sewed around. So it's pretty much all I sewed, even around the envelope. I'll show you the envelope. I sewed around every piece of the envelope. I'm trying to think if I think I glued it together. I let it sit overnight and get real nice and glued. But before I glued it together, I sewed it. So before I glued it together, I sewed everything. I sewed around the flap. I sewed around the square here. I did it actually twice around the sides. And then I sewed around these flaps before I glued them together. So these are all sewn around too. So that is completely sewn around. And then let's see what else. All this ephemera here, all sewed around with white. Some is zigzag and some is straight stitch. And I don't know if they'll be able to pick it up in the camera, especially with the white, but in person you can see it. And I just like the, I really just like the way sewing makes it look. It kind of gives it a frame and just a different, you know, kind of almost like a trim. And so I just really love that. That's why I like to do a lot of sewing on my journals. This one, you know, and I kind of placed the sewing in a good spot. Like this one, I placed it right on the edge of this inner piece, or right here. There's pink, and then there's some trim right here. So I put it right on that inner piece right there. So, and this one, I did zigzag stitch. So, you know, that's a different look than the straight stitch. Here's another one. I think this one may have been another pocket, and I cut the flaps off, and I haven't made it into a pocket, so it may just be a journaling card. But that's what it looks like when you cut the flaps off. You can just make it into a journaling card. So here is a piece I was just kind of fooling around with, and I had this on my in my TV craft area, which was in the living room, and I was making a kind of a collage on a piece of file folder, and I decided to make it into a piece or a tag for this journal. So I sewed some shells up here when I was doing the sewing, and zigzag stitch all around. I did do a straight stitch right down the middle here, and yeah, so I think it turned out cute as a tag for this journal. So that was a little TV craft that I was doing. And then, so that's the ephemera. Let me see where I can put those. And so today I thought, as a part of the progress or process on this journal, I would show you what I'm doing with, I wanted to use some of this shell napkin that I have. I have some of these shell napkins in my stash. And since I'm doing a beach journal, I thought, well, you know, I need to use some of these. You know, I can't do a beach journal and not use any of my napkins, my shell napkins, because I've only used them in one other project, which was a journal I made for one of my aunts. So this is how I take the top layer of, and I think this little piece will work, top layer of napkin off when I'm using a napkin. So you just take your napkin, and I know I've seen this done in different ways, you know, just by hand or whatever, but usually this works pretty well. You kind of just, and I probably should have put it on the back because I don't want to mess up the shell here, but you kind of put your tape on your napkin, and then you can, it just pulls up a layer here. See how I just put it on there, pulled a little bit, and it pulled it up right apart. So that way you get your top layer. And I think, I'm trying to see, usually there are 3 layers, but this one looks like it might just be 2 layers. I will know in just a minute. So that's the layer that we don't want to use right now. And then this, I think is 1 layer, but let me see. Let me try it over here where I was working before and make sure. I'll put my, oh, I dropped my tape. Here it is. Slipped off my finger. Okay, let me try it one more time to make sure I don't have any more layers here. As far as, yeah, I don't think I do. I think if I do any more, I'm going to make a hole through there. So, yeah, I think this one was just 2 layers. So what I'm doing is, and I did this once before and it looked really good, so that's why I'm doing it again for this journal. I've got my little board that I use for gluing here on this board, and I've got a piece. It looks so good with this napkin, and I did it on my auntie's journal that I did a video on, and if you want to go back and find that, or I could link it under this video, but I put it on this is just brown file folder. and I put it on here for one of their my auntie's journals, and this color shows through this napkin, and it looks so cool that I wanted to do something like that for this journal. And so all I did for this was I used glue stick because I didn't want to use Mod Podge. So if you don't, you can use Mod Podge for this, or whatever, collage podge or whatever, there's different gluing things, mediums that you can use for projects like this. But I do love Mod Podge, but sometimes I don't know, it just never, it dries, but it's still sticky. I don't know if you all have had that experience. And so I don't want that. I don't want that sticky. Even though it's dry, it just sticks to things. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's what my experience is. So I will use Mod Podge, but if I can, I will use glue stick, and it gives me a really nice effect. So that's what I'm doing here. Just gluing this napkin onto this brown file folder, and then I'm going to make something. I'm going to make some tags or a little mini journal to go along with this, a little notebook or something. I kind of don't know exactly what I'm going to make yet, but I wanted to just show you this because I know everyone does it different, you know what I mean? So, and you don't have to really, I mean, even if this wrinkled, it would be all right. I mean, I've got it straight here, but a wrinkle might even look cool. So this is not anything, this is just an easy, fun little craft you can do and not stress over it, you know what I mean? Easy, fast, and fun kind of thing. So, I've got it glued down to my file folder on that side. I'm going to cut the rest of this napkin off that I don't need. And I'll show you. Now it has to dry, and it'll look a little different when it's dry because it just will, because now you can see the glue. Kind of see the glue through it right now, through the napkin. So this is what it looks like right now, and you can see the napkin now through, but you can also see the glue through. But can you see the brown folder, how it looks really cool through there? And so when I do a tag or a little notebook, it'll look like that. I'll make sure this is all trimmed when I go to use it, but that's what I'm doing. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to glue some more napkin on. I think I'm just going to try to use up this napkin piece right here, and then I'm going to make things out of the pieces that I have. I have another piece of file folder. These are in my scraps. So this and this I'm going to use up. I even have this piece. I'll probably use that up, and by that time my napkin will probably be used up, but I have another backup brown file folder here in case I need more. But I think after those 3 pieces my napkin will be used up, and then I'll decide what I'm going to make with it. And then I'll be back to you probably with the final flip through. I don't know if there'll be anything else to show you. I have some other plans with some buttons. I have some buttons sitting here that I might put somewhere, and I've got a few other things I need to put in. That's about it for now. I have a little TV crafting I've been doing this week that I'll come back and show you in a separate video. So this one doesn't get too long, but I hope you enjoyed that little update, and I will see you next time, and happy crafting.